All right, welcome into the rundown. As always, appreciate you guys joining the show. Hey, how are you? Jay's the first one in the chat. Thank you, Jay. All right, so today's going to be I'm doing ceilings and floors today on different programs. So I thought we would look at five programs in the SEC, five programs. I don't know. We may just do five SEC programs, what I think their ceiling and floor is. Now, not projecting like what I think their record is going to be, but when I look at them, I it's what I think is, the ceiling or the floor. I have to share with you though something from last night. So apparently Jackpot was upset with me yesterday about the what I said about. He called me Slob Sanders in a text. They're changing quarterbacks and have a couple new wide receivers. They probably won't win a game. Talking about South Carolina. It's not that. It's not like that. Let's make sure that we're all on the same page with this. South Carolina has the potential to be good in certain areas. Okay, I get that, but I stand by what I said yesterday. Okay, and if this pisses people off, then I'm sorry. All right. As of right now, you have a coach that kicks Gatorade coolers, blames hot dogs and all kind of other shit, and cries in press conferences. That's what you have right now. And all that would be great if he were winning, but he's not. Okay? You need a Stone Blanton interception to beat Jacksonville State last year at home. All right? Now, and that's with a proven quarterback in Spencer Rattler. And I don't give a shit what you think about Lenoris Sellers. He's not Spencer Rattler. Okay? I hate to be that guy with you, but he's not Spencer Rattler. If he was better than Spencer Rattler, he would have been playing last year. Does that make sense? So I don't understand the gist behind that. Okay? So you have, in my opinion, a downgraded quarterback because Sellers is not Spencer Rattler. And you have wide receivers that there may be potential. There may be, but I don't know if they're going to be good or not. So I stand by what I said yesterday. If I have I've had the choice of the 2022 South Carolina offense with Xavier Leggett, Juice Wells, Jaheim Bell, Marshawn Lloyd, and Spencer Rattler. If I have the choice of taking that group versus the group that you have now, it's not even close. Simply because I know what I had before. That doesn't mean that I'm pissing on the Gamecocks because I'm not. I'm truly not. All right? But just this idea that I don't think that they're going to be the greatest. Look, nobody thinks they're going to be the greatest. There's a reason that Las Vegas has them at 5.5 wins. In 2022, that's fine, but he's still there. That's because they were throwing all the balls to fucking Wells. Either way, the year after that, he had 1,200 yards. I bet your returning production this season doesn't have 1,200 total yards receiving. Anybody want to go with that? It's ridiculous. And I know that you guys don't like Juice Wells, but he's a hell of a talent. And Jaheim Bell was a damn Swiss Army knife. And don't sit there and think that if you couldn't have them on this year's team, that you wouldn't want them. Because they're talented players. Lane Kiffin thinks enough of Wells to have him on his damn team that won 11 games last year and beat the holy shit out of Penn State in a bowl game. If that hurts your feelings, guys, I mean, you're softer than Tennessee fans. I'll put that out there right now. All right, now, so with that, we can look at South Carolina. I think the ceiling for South Carolina is 7 wins. I don't see, I mean, that's if everything goes correctly, 7 wins. So the floor for South Carolina, I think, is 4 wins. That's if everything shits the bed. So the ceiling and floor for South Carolina, 4 and 7. 7 on the ceiling, 4 on the floor. All right. And I want to put that out there. If you guys want to talk about that on the program, have at it. I just, it's like people get upset because the way that I look at games is on your production that you have returning. We don't know about the other guys. We don't. So, yes, does Lenore Sellers have potential? Yeah, he does. Does he do some things better than Spencer Rattler? Yes, he does. All right. He's a big guy that can move. What's he weigh? He weighs like 250, right? And there's talk about, I've heard some Gamecock fans, he might be the next Cam Newton. Let's slow down with that. I am saying he may be able to get out of the pocket and he may be able to make some plays. But here's the other thing. We don't know about his toughness. We don't know how tough the guy is. We don't know. He may get out and get hit by his first SEC linebacker and be like, fuck this. I don't want anything to do with that. Or he may be a guy that goes headhunting and he wants to nail the linebacker from Texas A&M because that guy was a 5-star recruit, and fuck him. I want him to know who South Carolina is. Maybe he's that guy. But we don't know. We don't know. And it's talking season, and it's great to be positive about your team because everybody is 0-0. I get that. And I think that it's awesome that you're thinking, all right, fine. Rob has an SEC bias, says you also still have to take Satterfield into the scenario, which is being forgotten. Marcus couldn't coach his way out of a plastic bag. Sir, he was listed as the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee game, for the Clemson game, and for the Notre Dame game where the South Carolina offense looked absolutely great. Now, did he get relieved? We don't know. When Shane Beamer was asked, he's the offensive coordinator. Are we going to call Shane Beamer a liar? Satterfield looked great in those last 3 games. I don't think he was calling plays, but according to Beamer, he was the offensive coordinator, so I have to take Beamer's word for it. He was in his wedding, right? So that's the way that it is. Either way, if you have Beamer out there calling plays in that last game, those last 3 games, let's just say that's who it was. Rumor was it was the receiver coach, Justin Stepp, but who knows? Who knows? Okay. But listed as the offensive coordinator, being paid as the offensive coordinator was Satterfield. Okay. I'll take those guys over what you have now. Now, we can come back at the end of the season and you could tell me, hey, Rob, man, that take you had in July or August was bullshit. This 2024 South Carolina team, Lenore Sellers went out there and, Spencer Rattler threw for 3,000 yards. Sellers threw for 2,500, but he rushed for 1,000. And this Gamecock offense was unstoppable with Rocket Sanders out there catching screen passes and rumbling. And this team won 9 games. So, damn, you look stupid with your 7 ceiling. I have no problem with that. All right? But to sit here and for people to be pissed at me about that because of the way that I think the season's going to go, it's my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But I can tell you that when you look back at several things, first of all, against the spread last year, I finished, 3rd in the Pick'em Challenge? 3 points from the lead, so maybe I know a little bit about that. I think the lowest I've finished is like in the top 20 for the past 4 years. So maybe I know just a little bit. Okay? Just a thought. Not to like sit here and toot my own horn, but to make this comment like that I'm fucking stupid and I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm not talking about jackpot. Other people have said this to me too. Okay. I kind of know just a little bit. It's my 21st season covering South Carolina football as a pre and post game host on the radio. Yep. So I kind of know a little bit. All right, just a little bit. Some of the comments here. Jay says, "My question is, will Gamecocks continue the trend of hiring washed-up Gator coaches? Napier will be available before the holidays." Jay also says it helps when you're holding the scoreboard. Yeah, well, okay. I mean, I don't. That's kind of sad, but I mean, you can go back and look at the stuff, man. I mean, I put my picks out live before everybody else, so there's that. Fireball says South Carolina's got to figure out intercepting radio signals from players' headphones, and just maybe they can be good. I don't think that that's going to be the issue either. Beth, with a good comment here, she has joined the Calloway's Pick'em Challenge. The link is in the bio. The link is in the bio. Join the damn challenge. So she wants to finish higher than Kale and I. So there you go. Rob has an SEC bias, another low IQ take from inside the locker. Well, whatever you got to go with, friend. Whatever you got to go with there. All right, so that I'll put out mine for South Carolina there. Let's look at some other teams here. Let's pull them up this way. I thought I would do, all right, pick an SEC team over in the comments section. What do you got? I'll go off of what I've got right now and give I know that, Jay. That's why I pick at you, man. It doesn't bother me. Look, the crazy thing about that is that I'm so weird with it. Like, I want jackpot. Jackpot holds all the money. Not that I'm going to do anything with it, but jackpot holds all the money and he gets it and he can send it out. I hold the standings. That's why we put our picks out on the air here so you can look at them. It's not a big deal. You can see what we got. Rob has an SEC bias, says do Mizzou. Okay, so Mizzou, let's see here. Let me look at Mizzou really quick here. All right, Mizzou, what do we got here? Let me look at their schedule. All right, so Mizzou has one of the easiest schedules in the SEC. They really, really do. They open up with Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College at home, and then Vanderbilt at home. So all four of those games, easy peasy. It's not even going to be close. I think the toughest game there would be Boston College because I think Vanderbilt's just the shits. Sorry. So when I look at that, I think they're going to be just fine there. I think Arkansas is going to be in transition mode, moving on from Sam Pittman by the time they play them at the end of the season. So that's 5 wins right off the rip. Okay. Also, Matt, UMass is there too. So 6-6 is the floor. The absolute floor for Mizzou. That's if everything goes to shit. Luther Burden gets hurt. Dorkowitz is out there trying to be Darth Vader again. All of that. Now, best case scenario, Texas A&M's shitty. They're not doing the whole thing with under Elko the way that they're supposed to be. And they roll in there October the 5th and Mizzou beats them. Auburn's no good. Oklahoma has a hard time transitioning into the conference. They beat South Carolina. Oh, and Mississippi State, by the way, I don't think they're going to be very good. So I'm going to take the floor as 7 for Mizzou. 7 wins is the floor for Mizzou. That is how shitty their record is. I mean, their schedule is. And it's not because it's just the way that it stacks up. I mean, after Alabama, they play Alabama, right? They have a home game with Auburn, go on the road to Alabama. After they play that game, which will probably be the most physical game they play all year, then they get 2 weeks off to prepare for Oklahoma at home. That's a blessing right there, man. Absolute blessing. So, yeah, the way that schedule sets up, 7 wins is the floor for them. Now, getting to the good end of it, I don't think they're beating Alabama at Alabama. I don't. And I think they drop one other game in that mix. Is it Auburn? Is it Oklahoma? I don't know. So I think the ceiling for them is 10 wins. So 10 on the ceiling, 7 on the floor for Mizzou. All right? Because it is, Uncle Lou makes the joke, they haven't played anybody. You've heard, they ain't played nobody. Look, I'm just saying, that schedule, that's why people are like, oh, they play an SEC schedule. If you could play an SEC schedule and your 2 toughest games are Alabama and Oklahoma, but the rest of your schedule is really bad. Really bad. I mean, come on, man. I think Vanderbilt could take that schedule and win 5 games. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. But Mizzou, 7 is the floor, and 10, I think, is the ceiling. We'll go 11. 11's the ceiling. That's if everything goes right. All right, next team. Somebody asked me to do Auburn. Let's look at the Auburn Tigers here. Auburn, the freeze era. Their fans posting stuff. We don't have any Auburn fans that follow this program. They should. They should. Talk about a fickle fan base when it comes to their coaches. They love a coach 1 minute, and then they're trying to get rid of them the next. What a mess that program is sometimes. Fireballs thing, I think a lot of Missouri's win was because of Cody Schrader. Well, Cody Schrader's a good running back. I mean, maybe that's true. But Burden is solid. Absolutely solid. Rob has an SEC bias, is thinking the way that I am. Imagine that. Any running back can get 1,000 yards in that system. I think that I don't want to piss on Schrader too much because he was all heart. But can you imagine if Rocket Sanders decided, hey, I'm going to Mizzou? Holy shit. Let's just leave it at that. Holy shit. All right, let's look at Auburn. Auburn's schedule. Yeah, they don't leave the state of Alabama. They have a 3-game stretch where they're outside of Alabama. Everything else is a cakewalk. So Alabama, A&M, California, those are wins. Same thing with New Mexico and Arkansas. The first 4 games of the season, I think, are wins. I'm also going to give them Louisiana Monroe, so that's 5 right off the bat. Vanderbilt is 6. So I think just rolling the ball out there, they'll get those 6 wins. Cal is, I think I've said this before, haven't had a winning season in the 2020s. They don't have anything to really write home about. So 6 wins is the floor for Auburn this year. Congratulations, you're going to the toilet bowl. Then their schedule opens up. They welcome in Oklahoma. Then the week after that, they go to Georgia and then follow that up 2 weeks later with a trip to Mizzou, followed by a trip to Kentucky. So you got that 4-game stretch there that's going to kind of determine their season. And then they have Texas A&M and Alabama at home. I'm going to give them 2 wins out of the following 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. Oklahoma, Georgia, Mizzou, Kentucky, A&M, and Alabama. I guess that's 6 games. So out of their 6, I'm going to give them 6. I'm going to give them 6 positive wins for the floor, and then I think they'll pull 2 of them out, and that's if everything flows correctly. It might be Kentucky and A&M. So right with what Harry Legg said, 8-4, 6-6 is the floor. Someone said, let's see here, Nick. Hey, welcome to the program, Nick. I don't think I've seen you in here before. If you're new to the show, please like the channel. we're trying to do a good show here, man. We try to put out quality content every day. If it's not with the stuff that I do here live, it's Kale puts out some amazing shit. All right. Go and just like the channel, subscribe. So there you go with that. Motley Dog, hello. Time Traveler, hello. All right, Nick. Nick wants me to do. Let me do 2 more SEC teams here, and we'll go from there. Let's see here. Someone says I don't want to talk about Tennessee. Look, regardless of what you think of me, I mock the Tennessee folks, but in reality, I say things that are true about your program. Just the way it is, way it is. So let me respond to this really quick. Anyway, so let's look at Tennessee, and I'm unbiased with this as far as I can go. Now with Tennessee, the thing that with them is the secondary. I know they had to basically replace their entire secondary. I get that. And so I don't really know what they're going to have. It's the same theory that we had before. Now, they can't be much worse than the secondary they had last year, right? Yeah. So there you go with that. With that, though, here's what I do know. They're not going to have any issues with the snake at the beginning of the season. So they're not going to have issues with Kent State. That's 2 wins. Let's see here. I think they're going to beat Florida. That's 3 wins. The Mississippi State is 4. UTEP is 5. Vanderbilt is 6. Kentucky is 7. Okay. Kentucky has great teams and they can't do shit with Tennessee. It's very weird. Okay. So, and Arkansas. So let me make sure I got that right. Chattanooga, Kent State, Arkansas is 3, Florida's 4, Kentucky's 5, Mississippi State is 6, UTEP is 7, Vanderbilt is 8. So 8 wins is the floor for Tennessee this year. Okay. With the way the schedule goes, that's just the way that I see it. Now, that gives me 4 games that are kind of in the mix there. The first one is the NC State game. On paper, you should beat NC State. Right? On paper. So let's say the ball bounces your way and we give you the NC State game in a best of scenario. I'm not really buying the whole thing with Oklahoma this year either. Let's give you the Oklahoma win. All right, Heupel goes home, beats Oklahoma. So that's 10. Then you've got Alabama and Georgia. It's hard for me to see you winning both of those games. But let's say you beat Alabama in a best case scenario. That puts you at 9 wins. And then the Georgia, what is that? Yeah, so I gave you Oklahoma and Kent State. Oklahoma, NC State is 2. That's 10. So yeah, 11-1 would be your best. That's if you catch Kalen DeBoer in his first season. He has to play there. He's never been in an environment where you've got 100,000 fans and they all want to throw goalposts into the damn river and they want to throw mustard. Okay, I'm just saying. So best case for the Vols is 11-1. 8-4 is the worst. That's if your secondary is shits, like it was last year. There you go. I mean, I think that's fair. 11-1, 8-4. That's not me being that's not me being biased at all. It's really not. All right, last SEC team. What do you guys got? Who? Somebody picked one. Was it Let's do LSU. LSU in the FPI is projected to win like 7.5 games. Here's what I know about LSU. Well, what I know about LSU is that Brian Kelly can coach. I know that. Now, when I look at their team, they're replacing everything with with Baker as the defensive coordinator, the man that came over from Mizzou, who, by the way, is a snake, was telling recruits and everything, oh, I'm staying and all this other shit. And then he ran. Look, if you're going to go and get your money, go and get your money. Okay. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not trying to feed your kids and family and everything else. You have to take care of your kids, get them into the private school, pay for them to go to college, all of that. I'm fine with that. If you're going to go and get your money, fine. But don't be out here talking to players like, hey, I'm going to be there, blah, blah, blah. And then you run away like a bitch. Because that's kind of what he did. Now, he may know defense to be the best defensive coordinator in the world. Okay? But as of right now, that guy, what was it? Rob has an SEC bias. Said bitch made bitch. Yeah, that's kind of what he is to me. Kind of what he is. So let's look at LSU's schedule here, ladies and gentlemen. The schedule for the Tigers from the Bayou. Come on, load for me. There we go. They start with Southern Cal. They're going to beat Southern Cal. That's a home game. Let's give you their best case. Southern Cal, they'll beat Nichols. They'll beat South Carolina. They will beat UCLA. They'll beat South Alabama. So worst case first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think they'll be favored in all those games. Arkansas will be 6. Florida is 7. 8 is Vanderbilt. So 8 wins is the floor right now for, in my opinion, for the LSU Tigers. Now we'll look at some of the other games. Ole Miss at home. I can't remember, when's the last time Ole Miss won in Death Valley? Does anybody be mad about that? Yeah, I'm going to look that up. That's an interesting stat there. Look that up really quick here. Where's Randall at today? He's normally here. He's a walking, talking LSU apologist. He could tell us about the last time that LSU won their games and LSU lost at home to the folks from Ole Miss. See if I can bring Ole Miss up here. Ole Miss. All right, so let's look at this full games list played. When's the last time they won in Baton Rouge? I mean, they haven't won in Baton Rouge since 2008, according to what I'm reading right now. They have not won there since 2008. And I think sometimes, sort of like Tennessee going down to Florida, they can be a better team, but go down there and lose a game, not that far-fetched. Kentucky playing Tennessee. For some reason, they just don't play well there. So I'm going to give LSU the win there over Ole Miss. So there you go. With that, at Texas A&M, I think they could win that game. This is best case scenario. Then we've got Alabama, who they've had issues with. That game's at home. The more and more I'm looking at this schedule, I'm thinking best case for them is 11-1. That's if Nussmeier gets his shit together, starts throwing the ball around, and the defense with Baker rallies. And because if you look at that defense, it's littered with tons of players that people want. Okay? So 11 is the absolute ceiling. 8 is the floor for the LSU Tigers. All right, we'll do one ACC team today because someone asked about North Carolina. We'll do them really quickly here. I'm maybe a little bit off with them simply because I just think it's like a death tour for Matt Brown. He's just basically like Bobby Cox was his last season in Atlanta, walking around, shaking hands, waving at people, that kind of thing. So with that, they start at Minnesota. Row, row, row your boat. So let's do the games I think they're going to guaranteed win. Charlotte, NC Central, Virginia, there's 3. I think they beat Wake Forest, is 4. So I think 4 is the floor. 4 is the floor. Fireball says, dude, they couldn't do that with a Heisman winner. They won 8 games. Defense is pathetic, and QB is a big drop off. I think there's a lot of people that would like Nussmeier as their quarterback. He's proven a little bit here. So I think 4 is the floor for them. Now, actually, you know what? I think they beat Duke because I don't think Manny Diaz is going to be good at Duke. So I'm going to give him 5. All right, so 5 wins there. Best case scenario that is they beat Duke, they beat Georgia Tech, and they beat Boston College. So I guess 8 would be the ceiling for them. So 8, 5, and 8. All right, you guys got to bear with me a second. I got to go run and let my dog in. I'll be right back. Stand by. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. My dog is deaf. I think we've talked about that before. And yeah, if I don't go and get him, he will go and dig out of the yard, and then I have to go run it on the damn golf course and catch him, and it's just a mess. So I appreciate you guys for bearing with me on that. All right, so there you go. Best case for them. All right, my final thing that I want to put out there today, before we get out of here, I'll do some more teams tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do Florida State. Who else will we do tomorrow? I don't know. We'll pick some other teams. We may do more SEC teams tomorrow. I don't know. So there's that. Sorry about that. Had to go get the dog. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Beth says, Michael DeBresky, too late. I'm to exceed your standing in the contest. Also, pretty sure I've accomplished that before. Well, listen. The beating the comrade is not really that hard. Generally, the women do really well in this contest. Beth is there every week. I mean, every month, every year. I don't remember where she finished last year. Hold on, I can tell you. It's a good thing there. Let's see what we got here. Bump, 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 bump. Beth in the final standings last year. Here we go. Final standings. Where was Beth? Beth had a good. Where was Beth last year? So Comrade finished 31-30, and then maybe Beth was behind him last year. Yeah, I don't see you, Beth. Where the hell did you finish last year? Comrade, by the way, finished light years behind everybody else. He talks the big game, but was not quite there. Rob has an SEC bias, says, do I live at Charwood? No, sir. My house is on the 6th hole of the Woodlands out in Northeast Columbia. So it's kind of cool because, it's not like it's we live on the golf course and it's ritzy and all that. It's not really that way. I mean, the guy that owns the course, him and I are friends. And, it's cool. I've got my own golf cart. I can go and take off and go play, all that good stuff. It's pretty neat. Pretty neat. But anyway, enter the Callaway's Pick'em Challenge. I'm sure a lot of you guys are getting into the mix, and as always, we really, really appreciate it. I mean, it's a cool thing to check out and do every year. I haven't played Pickens Golf Club. I heard it's good though. All right, so the last thing that I want to bring up today is, as I was thinking about this, you had the stuff that happened with Jim Harbaugh, and Harbaugh's elected to not be the honorary captain for the first game of the season. I'm not worried about Rob as an SEC bias peeping in my windows. I mean, it's a big neighborhood. There are 18 holes. I mean, I guess he could find number 6 and start knocking on doors. Good luck, by the way, coming into my yard from the hole, because if my German Shepherd doesn't get you, one of my pit bulls will. Good luck, sir. Good luck. Anyway, so anyway, but with the stuff with Harbaugh and everything that happened to him, the 4-year show cause, and all of that, okay? He did bring Michigan a national title. As of right now, they're not being asked to vacate any of it. But even if they are, they still won the national title. They are the national champion. The NCAA doesn't have to recognize it, but in the end, they are the national champion. Now, if you had your ass handed to you for years and years and years, which is what Michigan has had since 1997, basically, they've had good teams. But as far as being the national champion, I think they won in 97, and then they went downhill after that, or downward. They didn't stay at that championship level, okay? If you are a program that essentially the same thing happens to you, you lose your coach because let's be honest, he had NFL job offers for years, but he kind of knew, look, I better get the hell out of here, because if I don't, they're going to forcefully show my way out of here. But as a fan, would you want that same experience if it's like, all right, look, people are going to say things like what Harry's saying right now. They are tainted chumps. Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see that. People looking at it from that perspective, and that's fine. That's fine. But on the other hand, would you want to go ahead and win that national title? Or would you rather be on the other side of it? Maybe you don't quite get there. I don't know what the deal is with Jay and Rob has an SEC bias. We need to put you two together and, like, I don't know, either you hug it out or fuck it out, one or the other. So there's that. The NFL needs to do the rest of the SEC a favor and hire Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart's not going to go to the NFL. I mean, why would he want to do that? He can do whatever at Georgia. No one gives a shit. You could run the program. Just keep winning games. All right, here you go. Link to get into the show here. If you want to get involved, please do. Would you deal with the Harbaugh saga? Would that be, is Harbaugh, if it happened at your school, would you want him to be welcomed there, regardless of what the show call was? Maybe that's a better way to put it. I just think there's so much stench with Harbaugh and the way that he came across. It was just shitty. Shitty. And with that, I just think it's like, look, we need some time away from you. Maybe veteran days down the road, he can come back. But as of right now, not so much. Rob has an SEC bias. Says for a natty, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and for Clemson folks, the stuff that happened with Danny Ford, with him leaving. And, we don't know the whole story behind it, but he left and went to Arkansas. In the end, it only matters what you do on the field, right? Right. Let's welcome Harry to the program. Harry. Good afternoon, sir.
Same to you, buddy. How you doing today?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm gonna make it despite the odds, but when you get old, it's that way. Anyway, about this, as the Michigan situation, I'm just not into even discussing it. It is what it is. Had we a governing body worth its salt, what should have happened would have occurred in season last year. But as
Right.
is per usual, the NCAA is inept and toothless, and
Yep.
so enjoy your
Wouldn't
championship,
it be
Michigan.
great? Wouldn't it be great if there was like there's a no arbitration thing? So if we decide, look, this is what has happened, you don't get to sue us. Sorry, man, that would be great.
They
That
could
would be
have
absolutely great. But I wish that would happen. But it's at the point now where it's like, you know what? We don't agree with what you're doing, so we're just not going to do it, and we're going to sue you. And that's what happens. And
true.
I mean, I don't even know where to go from there. I mean,
look,
prime
look at the
example,
mess in the ACC.
Tennessee. Well, Tennessee went to court with the NCAA and they beat them.
They were right. What they did.
Shit like that shouldn't happen.
Well,
Because that basically says that whatever this governing body comes up with, they're like, screw it, doesn't matter,
no,
doesn't matter.
you can't have absolute authority uh, when there's gray area. And since the NCAA got to have an IRS style rule book with subsections begatting other subsections and things of this
Yeah,
nature, requiring their employment of thousands of idiots, paralegals, to do all the work. Uh, it's outdated model, just like our government is, without having to go that route. But it's the truth.
yeah,
Gee
you might
whiz!
be right about that.
But college football could do better, and it could do it in a way that would function without all the disharmonious crap that goes on. I mean, let's face it, it's very competitive. We got shysters out here
Right.
expose themselves over time,
Mhm.
and you go with it. I mean, all sports are ripe with it, but there's a better way to run the railroad, and I think we all
Well,
know.
the problem that I have with some of this is that some programs are going to take things more seriously than others, and they're going to fund it more, and they're going to have just more of everything going to football. You know what I'm saying? So to
Yeah.
figure out a balanced end on that is hard. It's
Well,
really hard. You know?
yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I'm not claiming to be the one with the answers. Of course not. But what they're doing right now with these proposals, in light of what I feel like that we all know as well, is that the consolidation within the conferences and this, that, and the other is far from over. Uh, I'm afraid that we're going to see the intrusion of economic issues come to fore here in a short period of time, unless uh, it reverses. I'm not going to go any further than that because I don't want to open up that can of worms and skew the discussion. But
Yeah.
let's look at Paramount going under. It's gone. Uh, the parent company thereof is includes CBS, which is a
Right.
powerhouse in sports. In fact, I think that CBS is probably their profit center. But you don't lose almost $10 billion in a quarter without it causing an issue. And they have uh, put themselves on the hook to pay out all these billions of dollars in the future to the teams and conferences for the TV rights. And the same thing's going here for ESPN, who's probably got their necks out even further uh, with promised payments and agreements. And
Right.
Disney is dropping like hot butter. You know, uh, what
Well,
happened? What happened with the
there's a
default?
lot of stuff with that. You're right.
So, you got problems everywhere, but refocusing just strictly on the teams and the sport. Uh, I don't know how anybody could not be excited about the uncertainty that we're heading into this fall, because you can look at a lot of teams that have great potential, and we all know what that word also means. But uh, let's say a handful of them do find that lightning in a bottle. Man, we could have some fun this year, uh, raising sand every week when teams get upset and things.
You're right about that, but there's also the other end of it that some people don't want to talk about. And what I mean by that is that there is going to be players that are going to quit. And Ole Miss seems right for it.
Ooh,
You know what I'm saying? Like if there's things that happen where they stub their toe and they drop a game here or there and they're sitting at, after 7 games, they're 4-3. No shot of making the fucking playoffs at 4-3, in my opinion.
nope.
So you got 5 games left. A lot of these guys that have eligibility where they can go and play somewhere else, are they going to really? They may go out there and play hard, but the guys that are going to go to the pros, why the hell would they go out there and put anything else on film
That
when
would
they
be
can
a
go to pro day? So then you have Ole Miss out there running their second and third string guys, losing games that they have no business losing, and Ole Miss finishes 6-6. I'm just saying. Just throw that out there in a vacuum. We could
sure.
have some shit like that happen where Auburn
Absolutely.
gets to be the beneficiary of that, and that gives them an extra win or two. You know?
Yeah, all these schools that have gotten the mercenaries do face that prospect. I mean, we saw it with Florida State last year. Uh, right, wrong, or indifferent, the guys quit. They literally quit when they got no playoff. Even though they had no shot. I don't think they would. I think they would have got annihilated uh, had they put them in.
I don't. Yeah. Well, I think that if Florida State had their full team there, they wouldn't have lost 63-3. But I think they still would have got jacked up, but it wouldn't have been 63-3.
I agree with that. I
I don't
agree.
think. I mean, I don't think I'm pissing on the Georgia fan with that.
No,
I don't think you're 60 points better than they are if they had everybody at full health. I just don't. I mean, you may win. You
yeah,
may have won 35-17 or something like that. You still would have blown them out, in my opinion. But yeah, Biscuit says 63-4. Thank you, Biscuit. But no,
two safeties.
how's Georgia giving up? How's Georgia giving up 2 safeties, sir? Explain that one to me, there, buddy. I want to see how that logic works there, Biscuit. You're a smart guy. Why do you have 2 safeties? Kirby Smart, if they gave up 2 safeties in a game and still won 63-4, those motherfuckers would still be running today. How do you do that? I don't even. So anyway,
Goodness.
yeah, I mean, but I worry about the quitters. That's gonna be the bad thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I like this little best to worst scenario play. Uh, uh, cast the light uh, of reason when you look at it that way, in many ways, and you eliminate some of this built-in bias that would otherwise exist. Because let's face it, these schools that have the easy schedules, by the same token, they could also run into the same thing that we ran into last year, which is you get guys hurt that
Right.
you just flat never saw. And when you do, I don't care how deep you are, the untested are the untested, and things don't always go your way after that. Uh, we're already seeing guys drop in camp now, and nobody seems to want to, be looking at it like they should. You just don't lose left tackles. You don't lose your starting running backs. You don't lose your starting receivers, uh, and especially you don't lose defensive linemen uh, in fall camp. Uh, those guys you can't find just about.
Right. I think that's fair, but on the other end of it though, it's like where's my brain going with this? It's I think Georgia can do that. I think you can have guys that because your second string is so good, your second stringers can start just about anywhere. Depth is the weapon of the Georgia Bulldogs, in my opinion, and that's why I think they'll run away from Clemson late because Clemson doesn't have that depth. You know,
Depends
and
on
you
who we
tell
got.
Clemson fans that they get pissy, but I mean that's just real.
Well, let's wait and see
Having,
who we got to put on the field. We don't know that yet, Rob. There's
I'm with
been a
you, but
there is a seat.
I,
There is
I
cone
when
of
when
silence
was the
now.
last time that Georgia had a defense that was ranked outside of the top 25? I mean, I can't remember in the past decade where the Bulldogs have finished outside of the top 25 on the defensive side of the ball.
16.
Okay, well that was 8 years ago, so maybe you're right. But I'm just saying, let's they have a 5 year stretch of just being that dominant on the defensive side of the ball. You got your starting quarterback back, a running back that I think is an absolute stud. I mean, Oscar Delp is going to be good. He's already been good, you know. So I mean, you do have. It's not like I'm not going to sit here and think that Georgia's doesn't have talent. That's kind of some shit there, you know.
Well, I was just kind of using this as an example. I mean, when
Mhm.
we faced Bama, uh, we had a lot of guys with band-aids on them that went out
Right.
there and tried, but they weren't anywhere close to 100%. And I'm not going to use that as any excuse because Bama won the game and
Yeah.
we didn't. That's the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen. W's and L's. So,
Well, let me ask you this before I get you out of here today.
yes, sir.
If you could go to Clemson right now and pick one player to put on that Georgia roster, who would you take?
Sammy Brown.
As a freshman, you wouldn't take Barrett Carter?
No.
I mean, the guy's an All-American linebacker. You wouldn't take Barrett Carter? I mean, I would think Barrett Carter would be pick one.
I
Kirby
think,
Smart wanted Barrett Carter bad.
well, he chose to go to Clemson when he was recruited. So, that I take that at face value. But uh, our linebacking core will be. Is there a 4-star? There might be one 4-star in it in the whole room. Uh, Now we can't get them all on the field at the same time is the problem. Uh, this is likely, this arguably, and we will see over the course of the season, to be the best linebacking core that we have ever put on the field. And
Well,
I
then
don't,
why do you want Sammy Brown then?
because more is better. Why
Well, I
not?
mean, you probably wouldn't see the field there.
Yeah, he wouldn't
I
see
mean,
the field immediately. No, he will not. He wouldn't see the field
you
immediately.
just want to watch Sammy Brown's luscious hair on the sidelines, is what you're telling me.
No, I saw him play a bunch of times in high school. Dude is
I
awesome.
know, I
He is
know.
fucking good, man.
I
And
mean, I'm sure he is. Yeah, I'm just stunned you went with Sammy Brown. Like, I mean, Barrett Carter would seem to be. I don't know if he would get. I mean, he would get snaps. Don't get me wrong, but I just.
well, Pop, we lost Pop. He was a damn All-American. He went to Kentucky. He saw the writing on the wall, but he suffered a broke arm. Not his fault, but he also saw that he was 20 pounds and 2 inches shorter, and 20 pounds lighter than all of the guys that couldn't get on the field because of his seniority. And Kirby does that. Okay, if that's his only fault in my book, sometimes is, uh, yep, you stayed with us this long and you're a senior, then you're going to play regardless.
It's worked for him though.
It
You've
has.
lost one game. You've lost one game in 3 years, man. You
We've
know.
lost 2 and 4 years. So
Well, two. Oh wow, two
none in
and
the
four
regular
years.
season. We lost the regular season game November 2020. So
You get what I'm saying though.
yeah.
2 games in 4 years, sir. Hey, Kirby Smart gets past me, man. You don't want to play a fucking freshman because you've got seniors that earned it. Fine. Who the hell are we to question you?
Only freshman we're going to see or likely see immediately is in the secondary, and uh, Yes. Yeah, we'll see how they do. That might be your ticket there if Klubnik can get some time until they, because first game they're not going to have their legs under them and they're not going to have a full grasp of the speed of the game yet. Seeing competition for the first time, so I'm about ready to throw some cold water on this line anyway. Traditionally, we've always played close games, and until that's broken, I'm not going to stick with that. You know what I mean? It just makes sense.
All right,
You
buddy.
have a
Well,
good.
Harry, I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, let's add Billy to the program. Billy, how the hell are you, sir?
Hey, I'm coming in late. I was listening at the beginning. I called in to protest your soliloquy diatribe on South Carolina. I think you come down on them way too hard, and that's just my opinion.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's what we'll do. My daughter's a very talented young lady. We will get you a tube top that is bedazzled with Shane Beamer's face.
I
about
just
3
think
sizes too small, and you can wear that this football season.
no.
You love that. You love that crying Gatorade kicking.
No. That's why I come into all this talking and everything. I just, like I said the other night, once we start the games and people start losing, I don't want to hear about. Well, he's a freshman, redshirt freshman. He hasn't played before crowds. He hadn't played on grass. I don't want to hear all that. I don't want to hear we don't have depth. This is your team. Your coach recruited this team. This is your team. So if somebody falls out, it's next man up. And if the next man up don't perform, you need to look at your coach and his recruiting. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to hear excuses, and you can already start hearing some coming from outside and stuff. Just that's your team. Go with your team, and we don't want to hear excuses. This guy got hurt. This guy's pinky's hurt. His toes hurt. Whatever. Just what is it? 85-man roster?
Yeah, sure.
All right, that's so. just play with what you got.
You feel the same way about if you guys lost your starting quarterback? You feel the same way?
Exactly. He's really not proven. He had one good bowl game, which nobody wants to give him credit for. That's fine.
Well, I use that as an example, but you lose your starting quarterback in game 2. I think that can greatly affect your entire season.
Well, you better have more quarterbacks in the quarterback room. This is what I'm saying. If you're going with one quarterback and this is going to be your man for the next 4 years and you're not recruiting quarterbacks, shame on you. Shame on you.
I think that quarterback is the one position you have to give coaches a little leeway on, simply based on the fact that right now it's tough as hell to keep a quarterback with the transfer portal and everything else. So to me, that's hard, but I buy everything else. I mean, you should have more than, one set of defensive backs.
Sure.
I mean, they may be young, but you should have more than one running back. I mean, that's
sure. That's like everybody's clamoring. Oh, Kentucky lost their running back. Oh, what a good time. They're 5 people. They're 6 running backs deep. And the fact that one went down, those quarterbacks aren't there. This word proven gets thrown out. They're too much. They played in high school and they've played, and stuff, and they're probably sophomores, freshmen, whatever. And they've been on the team and they've been scrimmaging and stuff. Next man up. And that's just the way. As a Tennessee fan, Nico goes down. We got 3-4 other quarterbacks. They're there for a reason. Please tell me you didn't recruit these quarterbacks just to be there to go to class. Or there's one there that's nepotism, Navy Schuler, because his daddy played there. He's on the team. But other than that, I'm like this. And I'm holding my breath against a North Carolina State game. A lot of Tennessee fans are chalking that up as a dub. I'm not.
I I don't think that you should. Not that I don't think you win the game, but North Carolina State has they have a chip on their shoulder, and their coach motivates them in crazy ways. He's got them thinking that everybody disrespects them, that they are not shit.
Right.
They don't think that you are anything. And that's if they're playing North Carolina Central. That's the way that Doran has those guys thinking. They're going to go into that matchup and they're going to be like, you know what? These guys think they're better than us. Fuck that. We don't feel that way. Confidence will not be an issue for them.
Right. They're playing an SEC team. They're playing in Charlotte. And I'll tell you something else as a Tennessee fan. I'm not giving them an edge as home field advantage. It's a football stadium. You know?
Right.
It's a football stadium.
I don't think they'll have an advantage with it being in Charlotte anyway. I really don't. But I do think that, and the Tennessee folks will travel. I mean, I think it's going to be maybe a 60-40 split with Tennessee fans having more orange in the
they do travel well
everywhere else. Yeah. So
but what I'm telling you, you know me, I'm not a delusional fan. I'm not taking this game for granted. And I don't see how people are. And with our schedule, we still got Alabama, Georgia, Florida. Florida has our number. But what I'm saying is there's going to be teams that's gotten better because you don't know what's in their transfer portal. People think they do, but when they put a team out there on the field, I'll tell you two teams in the SEC that's going to surprise people this year. Put this in the book of accountability. Kentucky and South Carolina is going to upset a couple of teams. Don't roll your eyes. Don't roll your eyes.
Look, I'll buy Kentucky because they have a coach that has a system, that has a plan. Beamer doesn't have a plan. There's no identity with South Carolina.
Yeah. I hope so.
No, hold on. What is South Carolina's identity? Because if you can figure it out, you should be the fucking head coach. Because he hasn't figured it out yet. Are they going to be a shotgun spread team that tries to nullify the fact that they don't have an offensive line that's supposedly above par in the SEC? Are they going to be an attacking defense that's going to rush the quarterback and put their defensive backs on islands with receivers? Yeah. What are they going to be? We don't know.
I got into a discussion with one South Carolina YouTuber, and I hope this is what he doesn't do. Is Sellers is your future. And just because he ran RPOs in high school against little defensive backs, this is another day. They string him out there in this league, somebody's going to be waiting for him out there, and he's going to get tattooed. So, but they're saying that's his strength, RPOs. I'm telling you, he can only take so much of that. He can only take so much. I'm just saying, I hope his office isn't strictly RPOs for Sellers. I hope that's not it. Because you better look at your quarterback room and see who's the next man up. So
we shall see, man.
I don't know. I'm all about preserving him, taking care of him, but running RPOs with this guy.
I don't think that. Well, I mean, under that logic, they said the same thing about, and I used Cam Newton as an example. Cam Newton they're like, he did the RPO stuff, take off if he needed to, could throw the ball a mile. Well, that's what I'm saying. We didn't know who Cam Newton was until, I mean, we knew about him at Florida and all that, but I'm just saying the kind of body that this kid has.
Yeah. What about the Arkansas quarterback was all that in a bag of chips, and they kept doing that, and he got hurt. I mean, I know you don't want to go out there and get hurt. I mean, you can't play scared, but on the other hand, you got to help yourself.
Right.
Like I say, if this kid's your future and everything, and obviously he is, and he's a good, why you want to subject him to that? I don't know, but that's just me. That's just me. I'm run RPOs, but don't make that your primary offense.
Primary thing you do, yeah.
Because he's going to have SEC linebackers out there waiting on him. And I don't care if he is 6'5", 2 what, Joe Milton was too, and he didn't get pop. I mean, he got hit and stuff.
Todd says I'm on the Gamecock hate train. It's not the hate train, man. It's just what I've seen. And as a Gamecock fan, you should feel the same way. You should want your coach to have a plan.
Well, there's, people are optimistic.
We know what Heupel is going to do. We mock them, but Heupel has a plan. On the offensive side of the ball, you know what you're going to get.
He's got 10 players. Get your defense on the field because we're snapping the ball. He's got 10 plays. 10 plays.
Yeah, but it works for him, though.
Yep.
You know he got something coming. With South Carolina, you don't. You don't know what they got.
And he's been successful offense, more or less. Yeah, we haven't beat Georgia and stuff, but you got 5-star athletes out there going one-on-one with 3 stars. So yes, it's you can stop it. But what was it? I think they led SEC yards per game in rushing. Who would have thought that last year? They're a running team. That's what people they primarily run. So we'll see. I'm not sold. I've got Carolina at 6-6. Somebody's going to get upset. So will Kentucky. I'm telling you, the Kentucky-Tennessee game right now will be close. I'm telling you.
You're sir. Respectfully, I disagree with you, but I think it'll be close. But I think Tennessee's going to win that game.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, you need to lighten up on South Carolina now. That's my second team,
brother. I'm just honest with them, man.
Well,
I'm in the trenches. Look, I'm in the trenches every year on WVOC on the radio here. And I mean, I know the Gamecock program. I know it. So, I mean, I know what I see, and I'm as real as I can be about it.
Well, you
I'm going to give
be
you
nice.
guys the link.
You can be nice.
I'm not gonna, would you rather me be nice or be honest with you?
Yeah,
I'm going to give you guys the link to listen to the pre and post game show. Post game show is better because I host the post game show myself and former Gamecock wide receiver Tim Frisbee, and we're as honest as we can possibly be with people. Listen to that show.
Hey, Chuck.
If you want some honesty, I mean, it's real. It's not a YouTube show where you can run around and drop curse words and everything else. I mean, it's a professional radio show where I put out there what I feel, and
I forgot. What do you have South Carolina going? What do you see them going at?
My full project, I probably got them going 6-6.
That's what I got them.
Yeah,
and along that line, you're saying they're going to upset somebody.
That's what I'm saying, with an upset, but I wouldn't be surprised if they went 5-7 though. Would not be surprised at all.
Well, okay. Anyway, enjoy the show. Later.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. All right, let's welcome in final person getting on today. Jesus. Rob has an SEC bias, is in his pool.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
It's afternoon. I hope somebody pissed in the pool before you got in it. How are you?
Feels great today, man. I love being in the water.
Is it warm? Is it warm? Somebody peed in that spot. Good luck with that.
It's a year-round heated pool, believe it or not, Rob.
There it is. Yeah. The way they heat it is with baby piss.
I think it's the tears of Clemson fans after we stormed their field. I think that's how they heat it. Just natural salt water.
Oh,
but,
okay.
I wanted to call in Billy. I think he had some good points there. You know, Billy, he can go off the cannon a little bit, but he can bring some damn wisdom. And I'm kind of with him on the RPOs. I think we need to get Sellers right around 600 rushing yards. I think that's the sweet spot for him where he can be effective. And also, you can mitigate the wear and tear. But I see what you're saying about us not really having that big of an identity right now. But you also have to
look. Just be honest. Let's just take off your garnet glasses for a second. What is the identity of this South Carolina program?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Wouldn't you agree, though, when you make such a drastic shift at quarterback from Rattler to Sellers, you have to switch up your scheme?
You didn't have an identity with Rattler.
I think we did. We run and shoot, man. That's how we played all year last year.
Yeah, you were just getting run over. What you were. You were the run over and shot.
Well, that's due to us having fucking walk-ons and freshmen at our O-line since week 1. So we got to add a little context there. But I I mean, I don't see our O-line being as bad as it was last year, personally.
Well, that's a huge step because they were the shits.
Oh, they were fucking terrible. Oh shit, my fucking tube scared the shit out of me. But
Mhm.
yeah, they were terrible. I think if we get an O-line that's at least half as good as our O-line was last year, half as
I
good.
just think that I just think that at this juncture, okay, your coach should have an identity of what he wants to be. Okay. And with South Carolina, we don't have that. We don't on either side of the ball.
Uh, I think we're a man defense. I think we do have an identity on defense.
If
We're
you
gonna
run
stay.
a man defense,
Like,
you'll give up fucking so many points.
we're DB
It'll look
University.
like it'll look like a fucking arena league if you run a man-to-man defense. Okay.
We will lock up your best wide receiver. That's what we do at South. Okay, we lock up
Is
your.
is that what you think you have now? That's your identity, right? That's what you're gonna go with?
Well, every year,
Man?
would you or would you not agree? Every year, just about a South Carolina DB pops up, and he turns out to be one of the best DBs in the country.
Right. But we learn about that, and we go back to 2022 when you had what was the guy that was telling him to drop your nuts?
About
Oh,
Cam Smith. Was it Cam Smith?
okay.
No,
Yeah,
it was
Cam Smith telling him to drop your nuts, right?
yeah, I think that was
Yeah, drop your nuts. When they finally put them in fucking man coverage on the wide receivers, drop your nuts and play. Then why the hell were they playing zone all year?
Well, these are
Why?
the answering, Rob. These are the questions that need answering.
Well, but that's the thing. You know, we mock Dabo Sweeney. I remember the Clemson Florida State game freshman year. Hold on a second. Let me go open this door. The freshman year for Deshaun Watson, when Clemson had a 4th and 1 and they line up in the shotgun and they go from the shotgun with that. Hello, children. They go from the shotgun with that and they couldn't get a yard. And I'm thinking, my God, why couldn't they just go into the damn goal, your goal line offense and rush ahead for a yard? Sweeney said point blank, that's not our offense. It's not what we do.
Well, that's the same guy who put 2 fucking defensive linemen at running back and fullback though in the goal line. So that's just classic Sweeney switching up on his statement.
He has national titles. He has ACC titles. And
Hey,
his system, he stays with his system and recruits guys to his system. And they run basically the same damn system every year. And it's worked for him. Having a system is one of the most important things ever.
well, you also have to evolve. I mean, fucking Nick Saban changed his system completely in the span of a year.
Right, on the offensive side of the ball, but on defense, they were basically the same. We're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. Our linebackers are going to help stop the run, and our defensive backs are going to lock down your receivers. Go.
But that's just describing every single good team in the country, though, Rob.
Not necessarily, though. There are some teams that can do it really well with like a bend but don't break defense. The South Carolina defense is under Ellis Johnson. Their mentality was, we're going to give up everything. You can run the track meet in between the 20s. You're going to kick field goals.
Mm-hmm.
That was effective. The Gamecock defense was great then. They'd give up all these plays in between the 20s, but then you're kicking field goals. Mm-hmm. That's a system that works, and it worked for them. They had a great defense.
Well, like I said, I've been on record saying I think the biggest thing I saw was on both sides the line of scrimmage. Last year we just got pushed off the ball by every single fucking O-line we played, and I mean the offensive line woes, they go without saying. You know what I mean? So it's really going to start there. I mean, I could give a shit less about an identity if we can't fucking control the line of scrimmage at all. You know what I mean? Yep. That's where you got.
I mean, so we go back to Clemson again with their system. When they won their national titles, they had one guy that was on the offensive line that actually played in the pros. The rest were just system guys, and the system worked.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't watch too much Clemson. specifically when they were winning, and definitely not now. But weren't they just kind of getting the ball off really quick as well, like fast runs, fast diss-offs?
Yeah, I mean they would they ran a lot of misdirection, and they would there were lots of tunnel screens and stuff like that to neutralize, and that's what they still do, to neutralize the rush from the defense. They would do stuff like that. So yeah, there's some of that. They don't run up to the line though and try to get you off balance that way. That's
No,
not
yeah,
that's
they
not what they do.
really. Well, they would run the no huddle, but it would be a slow no huddle, if I remember correct,
I
right?
mean, well, it's the no huddle, and then especially during the Trevor Lawrence years, they would go up to the line and be set at like 20 on the play clock, and then he would step back and look to the sidelines and say, "Hey, this is the way I'm going to go. Bye, baby. Have a good day." Look to the sidelines and be like, "All right, which way are we going?" And then run the play. And then as he progressed, he would be like, "Nah, fuck that. We're not running that play." And he would check down to ETN or whatever and would do that. So, but Lawrence is just a different animal when it comes to quarterbacks. So,
Well, one team I know I wanted to hear you mention, but I didn't hear it. How do you think Texas is going to do this year? Because I know they got high hopes.
Texas will be tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna do ceiling and floor with them tomorrow. That's the plan.
All right. Well, I know you've had a long stream, so I won't keep you long. I'll just leave you with this. Horns down. All right. Fuck Texas. Clemson, man, we're coming for you. Your tunnel screens will not beat us. Go Cox, baby.
Bless his sweet little heart. Bless his sweet little heart. All right. Well, you guys are awesome. Jackpot and I'll be back at it tonight. If you hadn't had enough of my nonsense, have at it. I don't know. Yeah. Did he jump the fence to get in the community pool? Very funny. All right. Well, you guys are awesome. I appreciate the little community we're building here in the afternoons. Tell your friends about it. I mean, join the show, man. I mean, it makes it even easier and better. And that's going to be even better during the season. I was apprehensive about redoing this show because, I don't know. I knew that I could still do a show. It's just a question of, do I have would I have enough folks to step in and actually pay attention? That's kind of the big thing with me. But numbers have been okay for the show, so that's good. And it'll get better as the season goes on. All right. Calloway's Pick a Challenge. Link is in the bio. Bookcase of Accountability. Link is in the bio. Big Barney Ross's Bourbon Reviews. Links in the bio. New show tonight. Rob and Kale podcast. Appreciate you guys. We shall see you later on.